And we're live.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever the heck in the world you are. It's the one and only Vin Guerrero Cannabis coming to you live with my main man, El Cuco, aka the Latino Heat CJ, working the airwaves, working the flux capacitors and the dilithium crystals, making sure these airwaves are coming out crispy and clean. Even though Twitter's giving him some problems, it is no match for El Cuco. With that being said, check us out on roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money, Facebook, Rogue Money, Steam, DTube, Rogue Money, and every single podcasting app known to humanity. Check us out everywhere, and even Rogue Money on Apple News. And with that out of the way, I have my main man, the very essence, the spirit animal himself, Vin Armani. And guys, if you don't know about Vin Armani, he is the main man on the Activist Post. He's an author, a DJ, and he just told me this, and be still my beating heart. He's a vodka maverick. Check out his vodka, baby vodka, spelled BEBI vodka. What a swanky website. As soon as you go on there, I'm ordering myself a bottle. You can get it custom engraved. Check out his website, vinarmani.com, countermarkets.com, and his book, Self Ownership. It's about empowerment. It's about being a serial entrepreneur. And without any further ado, my main man, Vin, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm great. What an intro.
Dude, I try.
Best intro I've ever
had. Yeah, everybody's been on the show always say I give the best intros.
You do, no doubt.
Thank you, bro. Man. Thank you. But, you gotta give credit to, there's an old proverb. You gotta give credit to where credit's due.
Fair enough.
And, when I got a dude like you on the show and on the program, it's fun, bro. It's fun because, we're the like mindset. Both serial entrepreneurs. You're a maverick. You're always looking for the next big thing. You're always innovating yourself. You're always pushing the boundaries, the envelope. It's awesome.
Look at this. And the last time I was on, we went deep down the rabbit hole. So
we did.
So I got my spelunking boots on. I'm ready. I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go.
Dude, I'm ready as well. I'm freaking Siri just activated on my phone for no damn reason. Just the excitement's in the air, bro. That's what happens when Vin and V are together. Things happen. And dude, I'm loving it, bro. So, we got a list of topics. We got cryptos, we got financial markets, we got tech, and we also got the deep dive. So God knows when Vin Armani's on, anything can and will and may happen. So brace yourselves.
Let's do it.
So what's on your radar, brother? Where do you want to go?
Oh man, well, I mean, we can dive into crypto, although I feel like, it's very interesting. I've been speaking out a little bit more about my feelings as now that I've gotten a chance. My book is done. I got the I've had this vodka for years now, but we've only been able to sell it in Las Vegas, just legally, because it's craft distilled and dealing with the craft distillery laws. But we found, I don't want to call it a loophole, but crypto has allowed us to do some things with it to enable us to still, within those craft distillery laws, get it out to some people. So it was like getting that all set up and everything. Now I'm like getting back into the development, the software development, pulling back into some of the things I've been doing with crypto, and coming back into it in this time where it's like it's blown up. But Bitcoin's fees are ridiculous, and I started started publicly saying some, giving my support of Bitcoin Cash, in terms of it. I've given support of other cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin Cash as opposed to Bitcoin. And man, to view the troll army that is out there, almost religious, like these people who are not using it as currency, who are just holding it. I get it, but I mean, they're holding and they're just trolling, and so it's crazy, man. It's crazy. We can talk about that, but I mean, maybe we can save that, because I have a feeling that since my mind is there, I'm going to go to it anyway, and I'd hate to take up all the time with just the discussion of that.
Oh, dude, like, we can go any which way you want, man. But exactly the point what you just said, man. I've seen, troll. You were getting trolled. We were getting trolled. My friend Roger Veer, Roger.
Yep, of course, yes.
So Roger was getting trolled because people like, oh my god, it's like you got these religious zealots, and it's like it's crazy. It's like fanboyism, We've had Adam Levine on. He's one of the guys from Tokenly, and he does crypto development and whatnot. And he's like, I haven't seen this since like the PS3 versus Xbox 360 days. The time
well,
of
it's so interesting. But like I've been thinking about this the last couple of days, and trying to sort through this in my head, because it's not just brand, right? Like
right,
it's not just the Mac versus PC or Sony versus
right.
Microsoft in terms of the systems, because there's really so much money at stake in this case, and it's like so people's hearts and their finances are really involved in this. I want to lay something out to you. So I've been thinking about this today. So this is the first time that I'm gonna talk about it. But tell me if any of this sounds familiar, right? Like if you've heard this before, because this just occurred to me, right? So you've got these guys on the Bitcoin side, on the main chain side, and their basic argument, their basic problem with Bitcoin Cash, with these other forks, is that by increasing the block size, by increasing the number of transactions that can happen every 10 minutes, which is what needs to happen in order for the fees to go down, and the confirmation times to go down as well. Because some people are paying $10 and $15 for like $100 transaction, and it's
That's
not
crazy.
getting confirmed for like 24 hours.
Right.
And that's
crazy.
just like, that's not a payment network.
Right.
Like that's just not a payment network. But the argument from that side is, well, and in a lot of ways, like to a degree, it is a fair and in some ways accurate argument, is that they're like, look, if you increase the block size maximum by 8 times, you already have the actual physical file of the blockchain that's something like 150 gigs right now, with just a 1 megabyte limit. And so it grows every block. And it's like, yeah, it's eventually going to get to a point where, I mean, if you're running like a Raspberry Pi as a node or something like that, or your shitty old computer, that's only got like a 1 terabyte drive in it, we're going to get beyond that very quickly. It's going to be beyond the realm of the average person to be able to run a full node. Full nodes are necessary. The more nodes that are there, the more secure the network is. That's their whole thing, right? So they're like, we want the network to be secure because we believe that the security of the network is what gives this token, each Bitcoin, its value. We believe that's why the value is going up, right? So they're making this security argument. And they're like, it's okay if the fees are high and the confirmation times are slow, because we're holding the hodlers. It's like, we're just holding it, and we're holding large amounts. So that's what this is for. It doesn't matter. And so they're like, we should have all of these nodes on a weak, slow, broken network, and basically everybody suffers all the same. Like, it doesn't matter that they're suffering, because we're all suffering together. And then you have the other side. And the other side says, look, no, we're going to just increase this block size, not just to 8. It can go up to 32. So it could be 32 times more than what it is on the BTC chain. It can go up all that high. And you know what? Yeah, it's going to start to get to a point where the average person is not going to be able to participate. It's going to be in the realm of large businesses. It's going to start to get to the realm where the current hardware that we have is not going to work. It's going to spur innovation in that realm, because there will be a race on, because whoever manages to solve, hey, let's get it super cheap to get the storage and the processor power to be able to run these mining rigs, that's going to spur innovation, because there's money on the table. At the same time, we have right now, it's got sub 1 cent fees.
I love it.
So that means that we can bring on the 1.6 billion people on the planet,
right,
who live on $1 a day.
Right.
You can't bring them on if the fees for a single transaction are $5 or more. Those people are just excluded from BTC, right? What I really see us talking about in this case is like the fear that the BTC hodlers, that this hodler troll army has, is their fundamental fear is, if it gets to that point, it's going to be these wealthy capitalists who are going to be in control of everything, and then our coins won't be secure because they'll just steal our money.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
And I'm like, you don't understand the profit motive.
Right.
Why the fuck would you mine Would you invest all of this infrastructure? Jihan Wu's operation in China does $39,000 a day in electricity.
Jesus.
Like, why would you invest all of this capital just to at some point steal people's money? Because the second you steal the money, the value of what you just stole falls through the floor.
Exactly.
Like, it's simple economics, but it's the same argument that socialists have always made. And what I'm seeing is it's like, this is fucking socialism.
It
Like,
is.
on that side, they're making a socialist argument. They're like, no, everybody's got to be equal. We need equity. Sure, it breaks the system. Sure, it's all slow, but but nobody can take advantage of anybody else. Nobody can gain too much power. And on the other side, they're like, no, open the floodgates.
Right.
Let merit win out. Let
Exactly.
let the Reardons,
Yes.
let the Reardons do it, because those are the people who change history anyway. Like, empower them, and those are your Roger Veres, those are your Dr. Craig Wrights, those are your Jihan Wus. And I'm like, I'm behind those guys, dude. I'm a
Same here.
capitalist. I'm an anarcho-capitalist. I'm behind
Yes. Yes.
so
Absolutely, man.
that's what I'm seeing play out, and I don't think people have really realized that that's really what's happening here. It's not just a brand war.
Yeah, totally, bro. Like when I got Roger on, Roger was on last time with us and with his busy schedule and stuff. And it breaks my heart that people attack people like, oh, V, why did you have Roger on again? He's so toxic.
No.
What the hell are you talking about? I mean, dude, Roger is like one of the smartest guys I know. Like he's totally humble about it,
Well, and he's been philosophically invested in this movement since before anybody.
Exactly.
He was invested when there was no value in this. He's not invested in this to get rich. Like, he's invested in this to change the world.
Exactly. Because my whole point is, if we want to just sit there and you have the Bitcoin huddlers, the Bitcoin hoarders, who just want to sit there and hoard, and they don't mind if transaction costs, if I want to send $100 worth of Bitcoin, it's going to cost me one day $25.
That's crazy.
Okay. They don't care about that. Because look, now my Bitcoin is worth $9,000. It's worth $10,000. It's worth $12,000. Even though you got like $25 transaction costs, and I won't know until 48 hours whether the transaction cleared or not. That's okay in their book. The whole point of Bitcoin is to be decentralized, get the power away from the banksters. Because as long as you're hoarding Bitcoin, you are not affecting the bankers' world one iota. It's when you're using it.
Let the bankers participate in the system as well, but they have to participate on equal footing as
bingo. Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's not necessarily that I don't want the bankers to participate. As a matter of fact, I have a feeling that there are going to be some very, very smart bankers who really take this whole thing to the next level. But what it's going to do is they're going to compete just like everybody else has to compete.
Exactly.
And you know what? Is the control of nodes going to consolidate yes, over time? Of course it's going to consolidate. But that's how every fucking industry works. Like, there's this great museum in Reno that I love, that if anybody's in Reno, Nevada, you should go check it out. I believe it's called like it's the US something car museum. But what it was Hera, the Harrah's Casino guy. It was his private car collection. And so he collected cars that were either the first of their kind in terms of technology, or where there was like only like one made, like a limited edition. And you go in and you see like, and you walk through it and it's in chronological order, right? So you go in and it's like these early, they're like carriages, literally, with like a tiller, like a boat tiller. I mean, they didn't even get to the fucking steering wheel for like 50 years of doing cars. You know what I mean? They were trying all kind of different stuff. But you go in and you read the names of the manufacturers and you realize, oh my God, there were hundreds of manufacturers of automobiles since the beginning. Like,
yes, there was.
In the first 20 years,
154 companies. 154 companies, if I remember correctly.
And you see, wow, there's not 154 companies now. You can name off the companies worldwide on both hands.
Yeah,
really.
Yep.
Right. And so it's like, business consolidates as an industry evolves, as an industry gets more. It ossifies. Like, it comes together. The big guys eat up the small guys. Like, that's what happens. That's what's going to happen here too. But the difference is there's no barrier to entry for a new coin to come along when it gets too heinous, you know, and one person's in control. And you can always change the hashing algorithm so that so that this guy's mining rigs are no longer relevant to this new thing. That's what Litecoin did. Like, there's
Right.
so many things that you can do, but at the end of the day, it's cryptocurrency. It's a currency, and the value of it is in spending it.
Yes. The
So
value. Yeah.
I had a guy tweet at me in a thread, because I've been going off on Twitter on this, and he tweeted at me, and this was his defense of Bitcoin. He said, "Why would anybody spend crypto? We have fiat for that."
Then he's an idiot and he misses the whole message. That's not even what Satoshi wants.
The whole thing. But that's them. That's where they're at. So I think, but what I find interesting is that I think that history is going to look back at this period, and it's going to look back at it as like, this is like the begin at, like, right at the end of the American Revolution, like the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, like,
Yeah.
or like this is like the Protestant Reformation, like, where people are trying to, we're going to figure out what the governance model for the next 100 years is going to look like. And my prediction is actually that that side, that BTC hodler side, is, and I put this on Twitter, this is my prediction, and I'll make it here. In the next 24 months, you're going to start to hear from those trolls that they want the government to step in and regulate cryptocurrency so that it will protect the value of their coin. That'll be in the next 2 years, absolutely guaranteed. That's my prediction.
Yep, exactly correct, because that's what that's, they leave the environment so that the inevitable, it will exactly be that. It will exactly be that. I mean, we're in a state right now where everything that's really being done in the whole cryptocurrency space are by the mavens, are by the mavericks. I mean, there are new paths being blazed. I mean, let innovation run wild. Let it run wild. And these guys don't want to sit there and who has to sell their cryptos? Who has to use cryptos? Dude, if you want to collect something, go collect like stamps or comic books. I mean, come on. Go collect Barbie dolls, bro. I mean, seriously.
Well, and I was talking with the editor of our newsletter, Jeff Paul. I had a conversation with him last night about this, and it's the mindset of, okay, I'm going to buy this, and what I want is I want the value of it to increase. I want the value of my holdings my overall net wealth to increase, but not based on any work that I do. And I'm like, look, I don't care what the going rate for a Bitcoin is, because what I'm about is getting more Bitcoin. Like, how can I get more Bitcoin? So I sell my book for cryptocurrency. I sell my vodka for cryptocurrency. I sell my services for cryptocurrency. We sell counter markets for cryptocurrency. And it's like, cool. I don't give a shit what the spot price is. You know, and now I'm doing development on point of sale systems. And it's like, look, I just want to peel 0.5% off every single transaction that goes through my point of sale system.
Right.
Or an ATM machine, or whatever the hell it is. And it's like, that's where innovation comes from. No innovation comes from taking and sequestering. And that's if the value is going up, it's because all these people are sequestering. They're taking it and they're sequestering it. They're creating artificial scarcity.
Yeah, they are.
And so of course the demand is staying steady. The demand is increasing. These hodlers are hoarding loot like a dragon out of the Hobbit. And then there you go, dude. Like, that's it.
Yeah. They're doing the cryptocurrency version of what the Hunt brothers did with the silver markets in the early 80s.
That's it.
Same thing.
Same
thing. And it's detrimental to everybody. Look, we have 6.3 billion people that are unbanked or unbankable.
That's right.
And we're not going to pull those people out of the gutter by hogging cryptocurrencies, preventing the utility of and the use of cryptocurrencies, preventing the fungibility of cryptocurrencies, preventing the app development, the platforms. All this is stymied, and we become nothing but digital stamp collectors. It's the stupidest thing ever.
Never mind releasing the wealth. I did the numbers on this, and I talked about it on my show on Monday, that it's like, they've got these sub 1 cent transaction fees right now on the Bitcoin Cash network, sub 1 cent, right? And so I was again, going back and forth with somebody on Twitter, and they were like, well, you can't maintain free transactions because the network's not free to maintain. And it's like, look, man, it's not free. You've got to get, but you're in a mind of dollars and cents. So you think that everything less than a cent is free. It's not, because we're talking about volume. And it's like this: if you just took half a cent, half a penny, which to any American, that's literally nothing, because I can't even pay you half a penny, right? If
Right.
you took half a cent a day per day from every American citizen, just every American citizen, never mind the world, never mind the whatever it is, 2 billion people living on $1 a day, never mind those people, right? Just from every American citizen, the 300 million, 330 million, whatever it is, half a penny a day, in a year, you'd make $550 million, $500 million.
Yeah.
And so it's like, think about how much capital is going to be basically exposed. This is like hidden, buried capital. Like, you start to see what capital can actually be generated to the benefit of those people by those people who are only on $1 a day.
Yeah.
Like, this is where it really is at. This is where we can lift people out of poverty. This is where we can change the world. And who the fuck knows, one of those people lifted out of poverty, if they're not going to be the person who is able to go to university and comes up with a cure for cancer, if they're the one who figures out cold fusion, you know what I mean? All of these things, we need to be moving humanity forward, and that's what I signed up for with cryptocurrency.
Amen, bro. Amen. I'm with you 100%. That's exactly, what I'm talking about as well. We have 6.3 billion people in this world that are pretty much shut out from the global economy. They have no access to it. And if you folks want the world to be a better place for you, for your kids, for your kids' kids,
that's right,
then it is predicated on the fact that we can help these people get out of their poverty, and by having access to a global market. There are stories coming out like where people have no access to the global economy, but they discovered crypto, and they'll make something in their little village and wind up selling it overseas to somebody who wants it.
For sure.
It happens all the time. And it's like, these are the stories we hear.
Venezuela. There's
bingo.
The Bitcoin mining saved a lot of people in that crash. Look at Zimbabwe and how the price of you can see like what the value is. You wouldn't think, like, you think Zimbabwe and you're like, whoa, there's a crypto market in Zimbabwe. What the fuck? Like, one Bitcoin went to $14,000 in Zimbabwe when they had this coup. And it's like, no, it's everywhere. It's already everywhere. But if it's not free and if it's not instant, we're not going to be able to get it to the people where it can make the biggest impact in the shortest period of time.
Right. And we're looking to kill the cabal. We're looking to kill those power brokers who've been ruling and reigning for the last several decades over the world. They're good old boys clubs. We're trying to disrupt that, and we can't do that. We can't weaken that monolith unless we help our fellow man. And I'm telling you right now, there is no better exploit that has come upon humanity in the last several thousand years since the advent of fire that has equaled the playing ground right now as it is with cryptocurrencies. It is the greatest invention since fire.
And it's cryptocurrency, yes, but but we haven't even like touched what the capability of the blockchain itself is, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like the idea of like title. Look, there's so many people that are fundamentally sitting on land, for instance, that they live on land that they don't have a title to. Nobody's got a title to. So meaning they can't go out and get a bank loan against their land to start a business and do all of this. And this is where the blockchain can come in. And where you can start to have these land registries, and you can actually trade tokens based on the value of that land, and someone can take their ancestral land and now they can use that to generate capital. And this is what capitalism is about. This is why it raises the overall standard of living of people. And if people are simply just out for that short term, and look, It is going to be really short term. I mean, I bought my first Bitcoin. I bought December 2012. Right, started
Wow.
really playing around with it in
What, $15, $20 back then?
$15.
Yeah,
Exactly was how much I paid. When it went to 1,000, I cashed out completely. Now, here's the thing: if somebody bought in at at 100, they're not going to realize the gains that I had. They're never going to realize those.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you think it's going to go? You think it's going to go to 90,000?
Mhm.
No, dude. You think it's really going to go to 70,000
No.
Bitcoin,
Right.
BTC? Like, really? So what is it? What are you holding on to? What is, like, you're not going to make the type of money that a Roger Ver made.
Right.
Like,
Right.
if you bought at 100, 200, 300, yeah, you're feeling like, look, yeah, my money's increased, but it's like, dude, not even close to what it can do if you will allow this thing to fully flow.
Right. Exactly correct. Bitcoin. I mean, this is what people need to understand.
That's my soapbox, man. That's my soapbox.
Hey, brother,
I'm too riled up about it.
Hey, I'm the if this was the church and you were the preacher, I'm like the deacon guy sitting in the chair that stands up and starts screaming,
right.
and then I start doing my little jig, I start doing my little dance, and the music, and CJ's playing the organ in the background, and and I'm doing backflips like it's the Blues Brothers.
I love it, man.
Oh man, dude, let's talk about technology.
Let's do
Tech.
it. Let's do it. Did you see the release, the Tesla release
of the Roadster, 0 to 60, 1.9 seconds, 8.9 second quarter mile. I'm a gearhead. My M3 just sprung a massive oil leak. So I'm looking at this Roadster, and I'm impressed by the numbers.
Right.
What's your take, man? I'm impressed by the numbers, but I think Tesla and Elon Musk is I think it's not the way to go. I think.
Well, look, I think it remains to be seen, like, if those numbers are legit. I think that big claims require big proof.
Mm-hmm.
And while I saw him throwing up a very nice looking PowerPoint, and while I saw the car going on a very short distance,
right.
I mean, can we get a car and driver and get out on a track? And can we actually, like, see this happen, Elon? Like, what's the deal? You know what I mean? Like, you can't just throw numbers, which it's crazy, because when he did that and when he made that claim, to me, it actually put some question in my mind about all of the claims that he was making with the numbers with the semi. Because what he fundamentally said, if those numbers are legit with the semi, he basically put every other truck manufacturer out of business, right? Especially the things that he was talking about with range, right? So where he's talking about like 600 mile range with a full load at highway speeds. And it's like, and a half-hour charging time from empty to fully recharged.
These are incredible numbers, and that's why he said, here's the problem. Here's my beef with Elon Musk. Number one, I think he's going full Howard Hughes on us, Finn.
Yeah.
I think he's gone full Howard Hughes on
rails. He's off the rails. Yeah.
Number two, I think he's a snake oil salesman. Number three, I think his company's a failure, and I'll tell you why.
Go for it.
Apart from the whole debacle that is Solar City, which is his cousin's company, where everybody said, "Oh my God, it's a merger." No, it's a buyout, because Solar City was about to go, tits up. I mean, let's look at the fact that this guy's never made a profit with Tesla. Tesla's never turned a profit. They lose money on every single car they sell. Number two. Number three, the problem with battery-powered cars right now with the technology that's available currently. Okay, Tesla says, "Oh, here's my Model S with the P100D package." Okay, fine. It says I have a 300-mile range, but if I do ludicrous speed once or twice, my range just drops to 180. Right. Now, if I get struck in traffic and I'm running my air conditioning full blast because it's 97 degrees outside and humid, now my range is about maybe 120 miles. Now I'm driving around with range anxiety. Now I got to look for a charging station and wait around an hour or so for it to get back to a normal range that I can drive. Secondly, look at the debacle that's happening with manufacturing. If you look at these Tesla cars, and right now they're hyping the hell out of these things. I'm a stickler for a well-made car. I love German cars. I love certain Japanese cars. I see the fit and finish. I see the quality of the panel alignments. When I look at a Tesla and I get up close to a Tesla, I can see the misaligned panels. I can see the panel gaps. The craftsmanship is not there. It was only about a year ago where magically Tesla cars were just spontaneously combusting like Roman candles on people's driveways. Okay, so this was a recent event.
Well, that's the lithium battery problem, right?
Bingo. And a firefighter is not by law required to rescue you if you're caught in a battery fire, because then he's dealing with invisible flames that are burning at like 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
He doesn't want to deal with that. So then you have the fact, where the hell is Elon Musk making his money? Tesla's biggest profit center is basically emissions credit selling. They're selling carbon credits.
That's absolutely right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So when the government decides, like when Trump says, "Yeah, we want to get rid of that loophole," that it cuts that little loophole out where these electric car manufacturers can't profit off of this government taxpayer subsidy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then the leech and the carpetbagger that is known as Elon Musk will fully go Howard Hughes, pack his bags, and probably go back to South Africa and work on something else.
Well, that's part of that's part of the business model. I mean, I'm not going to blame him for taking advantage of a stupid government program that never should have existed in the first place, right? Like,
right.
They put it there for someone to take advantage.
Without a doubt.
I 100% look. And the other thing is, it's hard for me to say that not turning a profit is in the initial going is indicative, especially when you're talking about a visionary company that in on paper, right? That's indicative of a failed company, because Amazon didn't turn a profit for its first 10 years, right? So that one, I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to say that Amazon was a failure.
No, right.
But the thing that I see as a bad indicator is he's a control freak. And his desire to be completely vertically integrated on all of it, especially with the cars and the charging stations, is a problem. Like, this is something that needs an ecosystem. Yeah. This is something where other independent actors need to be given the opportunity to go out, and it's like he needs to a certain degree, he needs to open source the charging station.
In other words, he needs to be like develop an open source alternative. Kind of like how GM had Delphi as an auto parts supplier.
Exactly.
Bingo. Right.
Because then you bring other people into the market, and it's like, what you really need is the charging is so damn important. But I get it's like, dude, make the damn batteries. That's fine. You're going to make the batteries. You're making them at such an economy of scale that you're going to beat everybody else's price. That's fine. That's good. But you need to have independent operators who are able to open charging stations. Like, we know how this business model works because we've done it with gas stations.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are you reinventing the wheel, bro? We've had an auto industry. Mm-hmm. And that to me is where I see that there's going to be these. And look, even on the level of manufacture, that it's like, well, if you don't have anybody who's competing with you, even if it's like a licensee, you know what I mean? Even if it's somebody making a special edition of something, you know what I mean? Like you have throughout the sports car market. Like, if you haven't even licensed to somebody else, of course your manufacturer is going to be shoddy. Right. That's just the nature of the market. If you're the only one making it, you don't have to make it well. I mean, Apple did it, but that was only because that was Steve Jobs' thing. Yeah. But that's not Elon Musk's thing.
No. Exactly right.
So, I mean, who knows where it's going? He's got way too many plates spinning at this point.
He does, and we got to understand like how this guy got his start. I mean, Tesla bought basically, dude, they bought an entire auto manufacturing industry for pennies on the dollar. I mean, they came in 2008. We have the auto crisis. The big three were going bankrupt, save Ford. You know, there was a lot of financial crisis. Everybody's cutting back, and then Tesla bought a Toyota factory that Toyota just built, and Toyota spent like $2.5 billion building it. Tesla bought it for $20 million.
Right.
So for pennies on the dollar, they were able to create a fully tooled. They had a fully tooled factory ready to go, and I think that's something that Silicon Valley, all these Silicon Valley companies are all of a sudden, ooh, we're going to start creating cars. Ooh, Google, self-driving cars, they're going to start creating it. And they're hitting a wall because they're realizing you actually need a supply chain. That's and the biggest problem with Tesla, just like you said, he doesn't open source the technology where other developers can start making parts and things for the car. Right. and have a real auto industry. No, this is not about having a real industry. This is about I have this little market niche, and I'm going to try to control it and be vertically integrated as much as possible. It's not going to work because this business model is so wrong. But if somebody like you or I look at this and Vin, you and I clearly see the problem.
Right.
We have the capital to come out and actually create a car company that is decentralized, that has open source, where we license out, hey, you want charging stations? Go ahead. Bro, that car company, whatever car company that will be absolutely 100% successful because they're not looking to reinvent the wheel.
I think it's going to happen, and I think that the automated aspect of this of what's coming in terms of the auto revolution, I think that really opens it up because I think then you think about all of the factors that then gets taken out of the mix, right? That it's like, okay, we don't really have to be concerned about engine design anymore. We don't really because it's just handled like it's going to be standard. We don't really have to worry about like driver position. We don't have to worry about how the car feels and how it handles, like all of these X factors, right? That are so hard to get right. What do you have to be concerned about? You got it, because basically what cars are going to turn into is a giant living room.
Yeah.
Right? Like a very comfortable living room. So then it comes down to just designers designing the inside, and maybe that might be something that's a little more custom. Your seating position could be whatever you want it to be. That is going to be so much easier for new entrants to come on, because it's like all of the other shit just gets standardized because it has to, because the cars are talking to each other. So there's just going to be this very standardized engine, standardized drivetrain, like all of that standardized. Well, there's no real transmission, is there? So it's like that's going to revolutionize the number of people that can get involved, so long as the state doesn't just, decide that they're going to limit the number of participants in the market, which is a big possibility.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you see how a lot of states are resistant for Tesla to have direct sales within their states, and a lot of dealer networks are furious. I mean, this guy's he's alienated so many people creating Tesla. He's alienated dealer networks. He's alienated gas stations or power companies, energy companies. It kind of makes you really think this guy's real motivation. And I don't know.
Well, he wants to go to Mars. That's what this is all
about. Yeah, and you got to love this guy, dude. Never turns a profit. He comes out and he says the most outlandish things. His stock value goes up like 10%, and then people believe in his bullshit. We're going to go to Mars in 3 years.
This is his childhood dream, though. And it's like there comes this could turn. I think you're right about him going Howard Hughes, and I saw that last night when I was watching him and watching his body language, and it was like,
did you hear his quote about his semi could transform and make lattes for you? This guy's
he's going to a place where it's just like, and the fanboyism, of course.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it's super.
People are calling him, these fanboys are calling him, he's Tony Stark. Shut up! He's not Tony Stark.
I mean, look, I will say he is super inspirational to me in the fact that he's doing so much. He makes me feel like I'm a lazy ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, in that way, he's inspirational, because I'm like, how could one person do all this shit? I mean, he clearly has no personal life. This is his personal life, but it's like, wow, I'm not working nearly hard enough. And I guess I'm working pretty hard, but I know how to enjoy myself as well. In that way, he's inspiring to me. But it's like, for someone he's so possessed by this idea of going to Mars that I think the quality of what he's building on the way there is suffering. Let's put it like that.
Oh, hugely.
It's crazy to see somebody who's that dedicated, that ambitious, I mean, he looked on edge. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he did some coke before he went on or whatever, but like, he looked on edge in that presentation that he gave, and he looked like a man who had one of those trucks not started, had the roadster like flamed out, that he could have just lost it. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been it.
Seriously, exactly right. He was talking about, again, with the range on the trucks, nobody knows. You put a 90,000 pound load.
Right.
What kind of range are you gonna get?
He's saying 600 miles at highway speeds, and that does not sound right to me.
No, it doesn't sound right to me at all. But see, guys like you and I, we know cars.
Right.
But for the average person, they'll literally believe it. They'll literally believe it. Like, whoa, wow, where do I send? And all those people that drop $5K on this roadster that's supposed to be out in 3 years, I'm like, wow, really? You know, I mean, there are people who drop $5K. They're still struggling to get their Model 3, which is their
That's
second, they're the Model 3 out in production.
That's right.
And again, a spotty reliability. I mean, if you want to do something, focus once. This guy's he's chasing too many foxes, bro.
That's it. No, I agree. It is a great demonstration of why singleness of purpose is so powerful.
It is.
And, focus,
It is.
and he's not. He's just not. I mean, but look, here's the thing. If for instance, one of these things actually delivers, if that roadster does turn out to be the fastest production car ever, like legitimately,
yeah,
if these trucks even get close to the numbers that he was describing,
it's world changing.
It is, man. And so, you look at his history and it's like, well, he's changed the world before.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, it seems unbelievable, but it's, I don't know. I don't know if you bet against a guy who's got at least some history behind him of doing some world changing things. So I don't know. It's interesting to watch, and it certainly is. I think we're living in amazing times right now.
Oh, dude, totally, bro. Totally amazing times.
Amazing.
I love it. And here's another amazing thing. Cannabis legalization, bro. You got to love it.
Here's
What's
my
your
problem.
take? What's your take?
Like, I'm a decriminalization advocate.
Same here.
I have a problem with the government taxing and regulating a plant. Like, this is my problem, and it's not just taxing and regulating the plant itself, but it's taxing and regulating the idea or it's a grander idea, and I think the grander idea is this: the government claiming the right to be able to tell the citizenry whether or not they can grow and consume a particular plant. Yeah. Because once you say that is the government's right, well, you opened it up to every plant. So, like, my concern in this is not marijuana. Like, okay, tax and regulate, that's whatever. I like smoking weed, and it's like, cool, taxed and regulated. Well, alcohol is taxed and regulated. I mean, I'm in the alcohol business. It's like, I can deal with that. Yeah. My issue is, you open up the Pandora's box, you don't fight back against it. That becomes the norm of a society, and then it's tax and regulate somebody's garden in their home. Right. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about taxing and regulating weed. I'm concerned about taxing and regulating tomatoes, cucumbers, spinach, because it's not like the state has ever shown a willingness to back off on shit like this.
You're absolutely right.
And so it's like, they had this up in Maine. I don't know if you heard about this food sovereignty law that they had passed up in Maine. They had passed this law basically saying, look, we as the state of Maine are not going to regulate or put any policies or prevent you from growing and also selling food, so long as it's sold like person to person, say like at a farmer's market. Person to person, you can sell whatever you want, even raw milk, whatever. We're not going to require testing. We're not going to do any of this shit. Huge win. Huge win, right? Huge win for local people who eat locally. Huge win for people who want organic. Huge win for people who want to know the source of their food. What happens? The FDA comes down and basically says, absolutely not. Send in agents, and we're like, nope, this whole thing is not going to happen. And the governor made a U-turn. Oh, no. And they basically like squash this thing. So for me, that's my worry. Is it's sure weed. I'm glad that we've reached a place in our culture where supposedly California is going to start looking at psilocybin mushrooms too, which I think is even better. Like that's something where we need to be exploring even more. Like, I truly believe we need to explore psychedelics. But the problem is, it's just, I have a fundamental issue with giving my tacit approval and saying, yes, the government has a right to tell me what plants I can and cannot grow and can and cannot consume. I think that's way beyond anything that I feel comfortable with. Let's put it like that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. We've seen examples out in Michigan where a woman has a tomato garden up front,
There you go.
and all of a sudden the city officials show up. They told her, you can't have these tomatoes. We're going to tax you for doing that. Oh, you're collecting rainwater. You're going to get fined for that and go to prison.
Right.
This is the insanity of the nanny state and status, and these are mentally deranged people that get high off of their power trips, man. And I'm with you wholeheartedly. That's the main thing. It's like, okay, if we're going to sit back, and you made a valid point here. I never even thought of it that way. But if we sit back and be like, hey, tax and regulate this, what else they're going to tax and regulate? Because these assholes don't stop, man. History has shown that they don't stop.
Oh no, the idea is to go all the way.
Yeah,
like that's the idea, and it's all you got to do is look at the 20th century to see that. It's that the idea is that you don't own yourself, which is, I mean, that's my book, self-ownership. Like the idea is that the state is wants to make the claim, and like you say, these are basically psychopaths, and they want to make the claim that no, you do not own yourself, we own you. Yep. And so we can do with your body what we choose to do. But it's it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that people who fancy themselves to be conservative, fancy themselves, that go to church and everything. It's like, dude, when Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden, like, well, first off, Adam was created to be a gardener. Like that was the first thing. Supposedly, if you're going to church and you really believe in your Bible, like we're gardeners from the jump.
Yep.
Like God made Adam to tend a garden, like to be a gardener. And then when he kicked him out, he was like, look, you're going to work the field. You're going to grow crops. You're going to eat from the herb of the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's been our birthright.
Right.
Like that's what it is to be human. That the base core sort of background of Western civilization is that it's like, no, you have a right.
Yes.
You have a right to have to grow the herbs in the field. You have a right to that as an individual. No other man can tell me, no, I can't grow this. What? I can't grow something on my land? What the fuck is my land for?
Exactly.
Like, what's it for if I can't grow food on it? What are you trying to do? Like, what are you saying? And when people see that, I mean, you can't unsee it. It's very, very difficult. You know what I mean? It's very difficult to say, oh, no. Like somebody else out there, some guy, because he applied for a job at down at the city, and they gave him a code enforcement job, and they gave him some little, plastic badge that he can decide whether or not I can grow tomatoes on my property. What the
Yeah, exactly correct, man. I think how communistic it is. Like I can't put a gazebo in the backyard because it's a code violation. Whose code?
Whose code?
I mean, whose code is it violating? Who's getting it? God forbid I put an American flag in the front of my house.
Oh yeah, no, can't do that either.
I can put like an ISIS flag. I guess that'll be all right, Oh, look, it's cultural enrichment.
That's your religious freedom right there.
That's right. Just say I believe in the caliphate. Have a goat brothel on the side, no problem. But if I rescue a deer and have it at like a local animal shelter, they'll SWAT team the animal shelter and shoot the deer. That little SWAT team operation probably cost $150,000 to the taxpayer just to kill a deer.
That's right.
I mean, it's freaking insanity, man.
But I think that this is why for me, letting this new model circulate, like why it's so important that we build a new economy with cryptocurrency, why it's so important that we start utilizing the blockchain, which belongs to everybody, because it unempowers. What am I trying to say? It makes these aspects of the state impotent.
Exactly.
And then we get to see my biggest concern and my biggest issue. Of course, I have a moral issue with the initiation of violence, but bigger than that is we're missing out on so much that we could have, because you think about how much money, especially from the people who are doing big things. You think about how much money the state steals and then, as you say, wastes.
Yeah.
That had it stayed in those individuals' hands, like that's another business started. That's another innovation. That's another product. That's something to make the world a better place. I just want to see what that looks like. I want to see what that looks like.
And you see what the state does. They can't balance a budget if their life depends on it.
Well, because why would you balance a budget when you're just stealing?
Exactly.
Like
correct.
I mean, the mafia doesn't balance budgets.
Right.
If they need more money, they just go steal more money.
Yeah, they're shaking it. Yeah, they'll go shake. They'll do a shakedown.
Somebody down. Yeah, you haven't met your quota. Like the capo is like, hey man, what are you doing? You need to go collect. You need to go figure something out because you haven't met your quota. You need to go rob a bank or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly,
that's where we're at, man. But we're in a whole new realm, and it's frustrating, but it's also, I'm super hopeful.
I've been more hopeful now with the advent of everything, and not only with the advent, I think there's like a real frequency change. I think you and I talked about this last time.
Yep.
And it's like everything that people have been so asleep to, they've kind of awoken. Be like, yo, the world is really a effed up place, and you got this really screwed up people that are in charge that are not these, people that have our best interests in mind. So in that regards, yeah, it's I'm hopeful. I'm definitely hopeful. I think in terms of cryptos and decentralization and what's happening globally with everything being deindustrialized, decentralized. Excuse me. I think it's an incredible time to be alive, without a doubt, man. I think there's some great opportunities, and I think in terms of the state, we beat them by not participating. And that's why it's so important that we need more development in the crypto sphere, and people need to start utilizing crypto. Dude, you know how much I hate it that I got to go, like, if I wanted to, like most people, their whole entire thing of getting crypto is that, I got to go to Coinbase. Right. Oh, I got to go to Kraken.
Yep.
I mean, I can't wait for atomic swap so they don't try to ghettoize us. I mean, it's bad enough the internet is ghettoized. You're either going to the ghetto of Facebook, the ghetto of Instagram, the ghetto of Google, right? If we can get away from the ghettoization of what they're trying to do with the crypto markets, and like new technology, atomic swaps, where we can swap in and out of various cryptocurrencies without utilizing an exchange, man, I mean, more. These are the types of developments we need more, and we can't get that as long as people are hogging.
Well, let me put this in your ear, right? So it's like, where do most people get? Well, let's put it like this: the idea for most people, let's say most Americans, of like, okay, where do you acquire your dollars from? They're like, well, I acquire it from my paycheck. Most people, right? They're like, a check comes, and that's where I get my dollars from. Hey, but you know what? There's the Forex. There's a whole lot of people that get their dollars through exchanging, the same way that most people do with crypto, including governments, right? To make those exchanges. What I am moving toward is I want people to say, when I say, where do you get your Bitcoin? I want them to say, from my paycheck.
Bingo.
That's what I'm working toward, is like,
right.
That's why I'm working hard on point of sale systems now, why I'm dedicated to that, because I'm like, look, I want a business to be able to take crypto, and then I want them to offer their employees the option. Like, how do you want to get paid? Do you want me to pay? And it starts to open up some other whole legal situations too, right? That it's like, how do you want to get paid? Because I've got Bitcoin reserves. I would much rather pay my vendors or pay my employees in crypto rather than have the loss of shifting it into cash, putting it in a bank account, and paying them in fiat.
Correct.
So what I'm working towards is like, how can I start to get employers to be able to have a reserve of crypto that they can pay their employees that they got by actually selling the goods and services that they're selling.
Yeah,
that's where I want to go. That's what I believe. That's the next step, and that vision is the reason why I'm behind the low fee and quick confirmation time of a Bitcoin Cash or a Litecoin or an Ethereum over the Bitcoin main chain. That's the reason why. It's not because, and that's what's crazy. Like that, Roger Ver's the same thing. He pays people at his company in Bitcoin. He does his payroll in Bitcoin Cash.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Where I want to go to.
Yeah,
like
that's
where it changes. When that happens, the world changes.
Yep, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, man. Let me ask you: is your POS system up and available yet, or?
So yeah, I have a prototype. I initially started building this thing. There's some, if you go to my Twitter and scroll through my pictures, you can probably see a couple pictures of this thing. I actually initially built it for this strip club, Legends Room, that's here
Okay.
in Vegas. They had done an ICO, and so what I built was I built a stripper tipping, basically point of sale, right? So you can tip
Nice.
strippers on all of these little devices that are dynamic. The QR code changes, it tells you who's on stage, but that's easily convertible for anything. So yeah, I'm now though having to, when I built it with Bitcoin. The fees were still reasonable, so now I'm having to switch it out. Bitcoin Cash is becoming an option, and I'm switching it out. I'll probably put Litecoin and Ethereum, although like I had this conversation with our editor at Counter Markets, Jeff Paul, last night, and he was like, man, you probably should just stick with one, just evangelize that one. And I mean, the thing is, there are no point of sale systems, and I know that there's a ton of
I'm
businesses
looking at
that
the
do
picture right now. That looks amazing.
yeah, yeah. So that's a working prototype that totally works. It does all the accounting, it does it all on chain, like everything. And it's, I wrote all the code for it, and to get the parts from China. So you could see that small, that the size of it. Basically, one of the form factors that I'm going to do is, restaurant checks,
Yeah.
is I'm going to basically embed that in a restaurant checkbook. So you open up the checkbook, and it has the amount, and it says, it has its own QR code just for it creates a new QR code for every check. And that's how you track it on the back end. And so someone could just literally pull out their phone, scan the QR code, pay that amount in Bitcoin, put the checkbook down, and walk out.
I love it.
The same way that you would put down cash or whatever, actually faster than giving them your credit card.
That's awesome, bro. That's
So
how you do it, bro. Innovation.
That's it, man.
Innovation. And you know what? And I don't know if most people that are listening won't even probably even know this. Strip clubs, liquor stores, debt consolidation, repair, businesses.
Mm-hmm.
These are considered high risk.
That's right.
Operations. So these are traditional businesses that if you're looking for merchant services, you're going to be paying through the nose in fees. Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's brutal. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
You'll be paying out the ass in order to get it.
So for them, this is like a no-brainer.
Yeah,
no-brainer.
Absolutely, man.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely right. This is real innovation. I love it, man. Bro, we are about, we have just a few minutes left. Again, dude, let's talk about your book real quick. Let's talk about self-ownership.
Let's do it. So I'm a big fan of Austrian economics, but reading through, one of the things that I realized in reading is that while they almost all the philosophers, the economists, all start at a level that's, they talk about property and property rights, but what has never really been talked about, not at least that I've found, and so far nobody's pointed it out to me, and what I decided I was going to explore is, what is ownership? Like, what actually does that even mean? What can be owned? What can't be owned? Like, what is, when I say I own this, what's like the metaphysics of that? Like, I'm getting down on this base level, right? Because what I figured is, hey, maybe what the whole problem with this is, maybe where we have all these arguments, is that we all have that the idea of what it is to own something is very nebulous. Because people are like, what is property? They get into that, and basically what they say is, property is that which is owned. And I'm like, dude, you didn't go back far enough. What is ownership? And so as I started to explore this, what it basically came down to at the very core level is, I had to find a sort of absolute truth, a bedrock to sit on. And what I basically sat on is pain is real. And whether or not somebody's like a complete sophist and they're like, oh, well, it's not really real. It's a cultural construct. And I'm like, okay, then I tell you what, put your hand down on the table. I'm going to take a hammer. I'm going to whack the shit out of your hand. And now you behave as though there's no pain. Right? So it's like, you might be able to say that pain is not real, but you absolutely cannot behave in that way. So for me, I'm like, that's as close to absolute truth as I need. No one else can feel your pain. Only you can feel your pain. And so
Right.
this is when it starts to get into, now from there, I take it out and I say, this is a good basis to start. We talk about, we own ourselves then, because we own our thoughts and our feelings, because we own our pain. Because we own our thoughts and our feelings, we own our labor. Because we own our labor, then that now you get into the John Locke and all of this, and we go further out into it. But it's basically that exploration, and it's to say that it's the foundation. The subtitle is self-ownership, the foundation of property and morality. That, like, having that recognition, we can start to build a society, or we can at least as individuals start to behave in a way where we don't need the state, we don't need government, if we just will respect the self-ownership of others that is self-evident. And so that's the basis of the book. I go into, I draw it all the way out to basically where we're at with the blockchain. It's really, for me, it was a great exploration. It really opened my eyes up and allowed me to, like, solidify my thoughts. But yeah, so far it's been great. I've got great response. I'm only selling it for cryptocurrency. I decided my previous book is up on Amazon, and I had thought about doing that with this, but no, I'm selling the book and the ebook and the audiobook only for cryptocurrency, and it's been like gangbusters, man. It's been
It's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
people really enjoyed it.
Tell me about the vodka.
Oh,
Talk to me about the vodka. Tell me about the vodka. El
The big-
Cuco likes El Cuco. When
Oh, hell yes.
but El Cuco, when especially on Thursdays, man, he does his thing in the afternoon. When I'm doing a program with my buddy Gus Demas, we do Cuss with Gus, where
Nice.
Gus is, curses up a storm. El Cuco will usually be in the background with a bottle of Jack and cheese and crackers.
Nice.
So tell me about this vodka, bro. Go ahead.
So like, when was it? It's been about 4 years now that we've had this vodka. 3.5, 4 years that
Nice.
that I've had this vodka. And it's distilled at Las Vegas Distillery, which is like just a few doors down from the studio I'm sitting in right now. And at the time, so he actually, George Rocks, who's the owner and the master distiller there, he actually wrote the Nevada Craft Distillery bill that is now a law. And so he's craft distiller number 1. But at the time, he was technically moonshining. But he had such support from even the governor was in there and signed like the first bottle of or the first barrel of moonshine that he put in to make bourbon, which has now been out for a couple years, which is amazing for the 150th anniversary of Nevada. But I came to him, at the time I was like heavy in the nightlife and, doing tables and bottle service and the whole nine. And, you'll pay like $1,000 for a bottle of Grey Goose in a club here in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came to him and I said, look, dude, could we do, what would it take to make a vodka that was actually like what would be the equivalent of like an XO vodka? So a vodka that could actually be worth the prices that are being paid, and not because Grey Goose is $30 in the store, but that same bottle will be between 500 and 1,000 in the clubs. And he's like, okay, here's what we have to do. It's got to be small batch. It's got to be unfiltered, which is super rare. So most vodkas, like if you drank Grey Goose unfiltered, you would throw up.
You'd vomit. You get the shakes.
It's mass produced. It's got tons of impurities in it.
A lot of chemicals. A lot.
Yes, they filter the hell out of it. So he's like, it's got to be unfiltered, which means it has to be done just right. And he's like, and it has to have some unique grains. So we did. It's 50% Nevada wheat, and it's 50% blue corn, which you can only get in bulk from the Navajo reservation, and they have to send a shaman out to verify. It's kind of like their version of kosher. Right. So we went through that process, got it all, and then he's like, and it has to have a distinctive bottle. So we have the bottle. The gold printing that's on that is actually 24 karat gold.
Wow,
that's on it. Yeah, and every bottle is engraved. Every bottle is engraved and personalized, and it's double signed, hand signed by myself and the distiller. So it's a really unique product. But here's the best part about it. Just to give you an idea of, and people are blown away because they've never tasted anything like this. The best way to drink it, unchilled, neat, like whiskey. It has zero bite, zero astringency. And you can polish off a whole bottle. Like you can take a whole bottle to the head. It's so smooth. You've never tasted anything like it. It's a cut above. I'm so proud of it. And I love showing it off to people and watching them go, oh my God, this is insane.
I'm in the process of ordering a bottle. And seriously, man, serious, no joke. I'm gonna order about. You'll see my order come through in a couple of minutes. You'll see it.
Okay, sounds good, man.
And honestly, dude, my favorite vodka is Chopin. You know, but yeah,
It's a fantastic vodka. I would say when you get this bottle, take the Chopin, do an A/B test, and you will never drink Chopin again.
Dude, I think you're right. I honestly, I'm like reading the descriptions of it. I mean, man, I think unfiltered. And I could drink it straight at room temperature. I don't got to put it in the fridge. I don't have to do any of that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean the cocktails that it makes are like, they're absolutely mind blowing. So yeah, it's
wow.
It's one of those things that I'm so proud. You know, so there's those very rare things that you get involved with where you just like, you're just so proud of how it came out, and this is one that I'm just. Every day I think about how proud I am to even be able to bring something like this to the world.
That's awesome, dude. It's a great product. Great product, great book, great website from a great guy. Folks, Vin Armani is I recommend all of you to get the book. Follow Vin on his social media. What is your social media? It's at Vin Armani on Twitter.
Everywhere, yeah.
Awesome.
Twitter, Facebook, all that. Yeah. Instagram.
Awesome. Follow Vin. Make sure you get his book and get the vodka, man. I mean, we don't get paid a penny to promote Vin or any of his product. We just love the work he does. These are the type of people you need to promote and support, because guys like him are actually going out there. They're innovating, they're developing, and they're making the world a better place. This is how it's done. And so thank you all for listening. And Vin, thank you for joining us yet again. And dude, I don't want to go almost a year without talking to you. So let's get this.
Agreed.
You know?
I enjoy it. Yeah. Thank you, V, for having me on as always. Thank you, CJ, for doing your thing. I'd love to be back on. I got to get you on the show, but we're going to have to pull off the Guy Fawkes mask. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, I'll do it. I'm about ready to come out. I'm gonna start dieting down. I'm gonna get my gorilla tan on. I'm gonna go get a full body wax, so we don't think I look like Sasquatch.
Awesome.
Sasquatch is on the show.
I love it, man.
Totally.
Let's do it. Let me know when you want to come on. I'd love to have you on.
I think it's coming here, man. I think let's hit it hard, bro. Let's do it.
Do it.
I'm game, man. Right. CJ El Cuco, take it away.